I ain't tryna bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. One thing I taught myself to do, no matter the problem, refuse to lose. So, how you want it, man? You can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't light the fuse. See, I walk in slow and ignite the room. Like fire, everything I touch, I consume. I'm getting up while y'all just snooze. While you make breakfast, man, I'm on the move. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. In me I trust, yeah, I smell like success, this Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop cause the top just ain't enough, huh? I ain't never gay, no, I ain't scared, man, you know black men don't blush, huh? Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life. Won't you come and see what it's like, living by the rules that you write. You ain't all those lavish delights, now you had no back in sight. All the little lies you recite, just makes all the savage unite. Usually I'm very polite, but I'ma get savage tonight. Even when a dog being nice, every single dog gonna bite. You might think I'm wrong, but I'm right. Just let it get a strong appetite. I'ma let it breathe just a little, give it to you strong, heavy metal. I don't make a sound when I strike. You better just run for your life. Run for your life.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, and today I'm joined in the studio by Kwaku L. And today we got a hot topic. We're going to be talking about, this leak coming out of BYU about the accusation that indeed the Black Menaces are receiving some preferential treatment. This from the Cougar Chronicle. The BYU ignores student complaints against Black Menaces for months while other complaints addressed immediately. Kwaku, why don't you just take this away, catch us up, tell us what's been going on. You've been on the phone today with buddies of yours that helped form the organization. We'd like to excuse them from the conversation. Apparently they're on a road trip, couldn't join us for the live stream. You've been talking to people left and right. Kwaku, tell us what's going on. Go.
Oh, yeah. Well, looks like there's an article by Cougar Chronicles. BYU ignores student complaints against Black Menaces for months, other complaints addressed immediately. Basically, students or student organizations that were complained about or reported for breaking whatever behavior, all of those were addressed by the school and by the Office of Belonging or Student Inclusion, one of those groups, one of those offices, immediately. But all the Black Menaces stuff was kind of ignored. They didn't really touch it. And so Cougar Chronicle is kind of leaking this information to the public, saying, hey, look at this. This is showing that BYU is giving Black Menaces preferential treatment over other groups. And, people are upset about this.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think they should be. I think BYU made the right choice.
Really? Okay. So, elaborate, because there are all kinds of different schools of thought here, and I want to make sure that we I hate that word, platform.
Yeah, my school of thought is Yale, and theirs is DeVry. I am right. I know I'm right. I know I'm right on this one.
Oh, That's funny. So you're making the old medieval blue blood argument, right? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
like-
Do not speak to your betters. You know
Like,
what I'm
no,
saying? It's like, I am the better in this conversation.
Here's my thought on this whole thing. BYU has to give preferential treatment to the Black Menaces in regard to not condemning them or denouncing them. They can break more rules than other people, 100%. It's going to be that way. And Cougar Chronicle, I think, I respect what the Cougar Chronicle does, and that they I'm always down for a Julian Assange type. If you're leaking information about a big institution and corrupt things happening, you always on your side. So I actually respect them for the fact that they're kind of that on the ground, independent like journalism stuff.
Yeah, rock on.
So this is not me having anything bad to say about Cougar Chron, but you got to be real. You got to be real for a minute. If BYU went out and told Black Menaces, hey, you can't film on campus, and what you're doing is wrong, like Cougar Chronicle tried to push BYU to do that a couple months back, it would be a nightmare. Because, one, the Black Menaces, all they have to do is turn around and say, BYU is not letting us talk about the racism we've experienced on camera. That's all they have to say. And even if that's a half-truth or not true, within 5 seconds, every single Black Lives Matter adjacent, pro-Black, NAACP adjacent, and ex-Mormon and anti-Mormon group is on their defense. And you cannot win that. All they have to say is, oh yeah, BYU, the flagship school of the church that barred black people from holding the priesthood for 150 years, is not letting us go on campus and interview students about racism. You can't win that fight. You cannot win. It doesn't matter how strong and tough your leadership is. You look like an idiot. You look bad. We would get killed. Like, you lose. It's impossible to win that.
Okay, so now playing devil's advocate on behalf of the people that have complained about this.
Yes.
Okay, and by the way, we're actually going to go back and read the article so that the people that wrote the article can actually say their piece vicariously through us, right? However, I will say, what would you say, Kwaku, to those that say, well, hey, you know, because I agree very much. I agree with about 98% of what you say, ... if it were a state school. Okay, but you know, it's not. It holds itself and expects to hold itself to a higher standard. And my problem with the Black Menaces isn't necessarily about addressing the race issue or colonialism or imperialism and all these other Marxist, let's just face it, Marxist arguments they make. Okay. I would love to go head to head with them talking about, is life about objective reality or is it about power dynamics? Was Marx right? Were the capitalists right? Right. I will go head to head with them on any of that stuff. But what I've seen them do oftentimes in some of their content is just the Black Menaces.
No, sorry. Who is Landale Calrissian? Why are they saying I look like Landale Calrissian?
Oh, that's actually a compliment, bro. Landale Calrissian? Come on, Lando Calrissian. He's the guy in Empire Strikes Back.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I was being compared to like a politician.
No,
like, who's
no,
Lando
Lando.
Calrissian?
Oh, now, unfortunately,
Sorry,
because
keep going.
this,
I thought it was.
Yeah, no, that's that. We're going to bring up Lando Calrissian. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I believe it's Calrissian. So anyway, I was going to say my only real problem with the Black Menaces have done is a lot of what I see them doing, Kwaku, is just plain old cruel to some of these students. Like these hit pieces that they put out there aren't just hit pieces against the patriarchy or imperialism, because they literally drag innocent people that I don't think knew what they were getting into a wildly racially charged argument, and then also instead of necessarily keeping it local,
their
it
tactics,
gets nationalized.
Their tactics can be a little bit cruel in the way that they throw people into the lion's den of the TikTok comment section.
Yes,
for sure.
And
I'm not debating any of that. I'm just saying my argument here, and actually it doesn't work if it's a state school, because if it's a state school, they don't have the sordid history our church has with race. Because of the sordid history.
No, but there's the expectation if you're a BYU student and the commitment when you sign that honor code.
Still, it doesn't. I'm talking about PR, though.
Yeah, okay.
The outside world.
Then these people, though,
doesn't matter.
They're violating a covenant with other human beings and God that they have made, which I get that you can only hold that to there's a reality here. I get there's a reality here. But at the end of the day,
my argument is completely 100% a PR argument. That's what I'm saying. None of that honor code, none of that matters. What I'm saying in regard to the public eye doesn't care if, when they went to the temple and made a covenant. The public eye doesn't care if they signed the honor code. The public eye, hundreds of millions of people go, oh yeah, the racist church. They did what to the black students? Ugh, I never liked them. That's what happens.
Would you agree? Like personally,
and then the brethren are going to call up Shane Reese, and they're like, what, are we getting canceled again? Like, we can get canceled by the LGBT, but we can't get canceled by the blacks and the LGBTs in 1 year. It's an unwinnable fight. You can't win that fight.
Did you just say the and enter minority group here?
Yeah, I said the black is fine. I can say it. It doesn't matter. Like, well, and I'm also saying, like, we know that's probably how they would say it. Like, the blacks are very upset at us right now, brother. We need to figure out a way to you know. Anyway, so I just, you can't win. Like I don't know what they wanted BYU to do. If they said
good
anything.
leadership. I'll tell you this right now. Personally, I think this has been a failure of leadership. Who did not sit these people down, not authoritatively, but scripturally, and just say, like, look, guys, I get your arguments. I can actually empathize with your arguments. People don't realize this. They think because I'm like a big white guy with a beard and like a podcast. Oh, he's got to be some, conservative warrior, right? And they don't realize I was literally Andrew Yang's #1 like channel when he was running on the Democrat Party platform, talking about using UBI as the first step of reparations. And dude, I'm a reparations guy. Like, I'm an unadulterated reparations guy. By the way, not just for black people, Mormons and Indians as well. Let's give them the senators we promised them as part of like the Louisiana Purchase. That's probably an incorrect historical argument. It wasn't the Louisiana Purchase. But like, let's make good on some promises that were made and definitely not kept, including 40 acres and a mule, right? So anyway, that aside, I'm not some conservative firebrand. I'm actually very empathetic to a lot of these arguments, right? However, like, I question, where is the leader that sits them down and says, look, guys, like, be the tip of the spear on a very good and necessary argument in a church that frankly needs to do a better job of PR on this issue. But can you do it with love and not cruelty? Because I'm watching these videos and it's video after video where I just see you like practically ruin some poor kid's life. Some of these kids that the Black Menaces wrecked, like, won't be able to, they're not going to be dating anybody around campus anytime soon. They're not going to be getting a job anytime soon. And also I doubt the efficacy of what they're doing because some halfway, the stupid kids that are getting ambushed by the Black Menaces are just going to make a dumb answer because they're stupid and make us look bad. And the smart ones, they're not going to give the real answer. The poli-sci student that they ambush saying, hey, do you think X, Y, or Z thing is racist? He's either going to say no comment and walk away, or else just say, yeah, I better give the woke version of this that I hear in poli-sci all the time, or else my life is over. And he's not actually going to be saying anything substantive that actually moves the needle. And when you're doing things that are cool and don't move the needle.
I think we need to give examples.
Okay, fair enough.
Because if we don't, we just sound like we're,
Absolutely.
For example, the last couple ones they uploaded where they asked BYU students who the vice president was, and it's like 30 students they interviewed didn't know who the vice president was. Looks pretty bad on BYU. That looks pretty bad. You don't know who Kamala Harris is. You look pretty stupid.
But also that's just generalized ignorance, not racial.
I know
animosity.
I know, but it's still it. You can see how they're so effective. Because it's like, all right, who is the first female vice president? I don't know. Who is the first black female vice president? I don't know.
Do we have a president or a monarchy? I don't know.
It's like, and so it just, or they oh my gosh, oh crap, they had freaking, I'm not sure, I'm butchering the celebrities. It was like Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons and Beyonce, and they were going up to students, and they're like, "You know who this is?" And it's like, I'm sorry, if you don't know who Beyonce is, you must be Amish. And it was like 15 students didn't know who Beyonce was. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're making us look like idiots.
Oh, get in the mic, bro. We're losing you in the mic.
I'm sorry, if you don't like you look dumb. And like some of the students, like, I'm sorry, if you get made fun of on camera for not knowing who Beyonce is, you maybe a little bit deserve that. Like a little bit deserve a roast of not like, so I kind of get it. I think some of the stuff is a little unfair, but we also have to give let's go to the TikTok. Like, pull it.
No,
let's give
we'll go to
examples.
the TikToks, and let me just finish my phrase. That though I think what they've done is definitely a little unfair. Speaking of fairness, bro, this is where, and this may rub a lot of people wrong, but being friends with you,
yeah. So
being friends with you has really changed my mind on the Black Menaces. Not because I think their arguments are right, but go into detail. Tell me if what I'm saying is right. When Calvin Burke was making all of those heinous and horrible, untrue accusations about you, you know, it's not like the More Good Foundation that you were working for came to bat with you. It's not like BYU started lawyering up with you saying, look, we think you're making false accusations against our students. It's not like the comedy club you were performing at was all of a sudden coming to bat for you. It's not like anybody's wealthy parents were saying, hell yeah, let me send the lawyer I have on retainer down to the office to help you out. You were a 17 to 19-year-old facing like an international cancellation mob based off of false accusations, and nobody was coming to help you, bro, except for some guys in the Black Student Union, from what I understand, marched into the head office and they said, we know these accusations are fake. If you keep allowing this cancel mob to harass our boy, we will put you on blast using every tool available to us in our PR toolbox. And that's the only thing that made them like back down from false accusations. And you remember those guys that defend you when you need them, dude.
I mean, here's the reality. Like, when Calvin Burke and here's the thing: when people are like, "Oh, well, the Black Menaces, they're a bunch of Marxists and far leftists," you know, we can debate on the whole Marxist thing, but they're definitely far leftist. But guess what? When the far left crowd at BYU was making up, they were all at once. They had Title IX, Honor Code, and BYU police investigating me for claims that they made up on the spot. They were going on. You had Evan Jones and his evil wife Julia going on.
Okay, I don't know who these people are, so you're responsible.
I hope he sees this.
You're responsible for your comments and you alone.
Look, I love everybody. I love everybody. But I'm gonna quote Louis C.K. If Evan Jones was falling off a cliff and I was Superman and I could rescue him, I would rescue him to drop him from higher. Like that's how evil these people are. Anyway, so they were making stuff up and they were going and saying Kwaku has. Okay, oh boy, one thing they did, they made a fake Tinder account of me and were swiping up on men, all right? Yeah. So they were trying to frame me for being gay, and then at the same time...
Wait, who's the they that was making a fake Tinder
this
profile?
Network of Evan Jones and Calvin Burke and Julia White and all these people. Like there was this
cabal.
Network of, this cabal of... Anyway, at the same time, they were telling a bunch of people that I had all these female victims. And I have zero female victims. So then... they go and they create a Title IX file, and they say Kwaku has a bunch of female victims, and next week they're coming in to testify how much of a rapist he is. And I'm like, what are you talking about? No, those victims don't exist. But all it takes is one complaint for Title IX to open a file against you. So then they were able to go to the public and say Kwaku has an active Title IX file, which was technically true because they faked it. So Title IX is waiting for all these women to come forward, and guess what? Zero women come forward. Zero women come in to say that I'm an rapist. But you know who does come in? Leadership from the Black Student Union. They go into the Wilk and they say, are you people stupid? Yeah. You know this is fake. Go look at the tweets. You know this is a mob. And we're here to protect Kwaku because... And
bad leadership didn't do that. That's bad leadership. These problems only happen when there's bad leadership.
And it's like, the Black Student Union, a lot of those people literally in that room who went on my behalf went in to be involved in Black Menaces. So it's like, I can't, like... They were the ones who kept, like, they came for bat. It's like, it's like, look, I get why some politician... Harry Reid. Yeah. Harry Reid, dude. People like, Harry Reid, I can't believe he votes for all these things. But you know what? When Elder Holland needs the mafia boss and says, you need to go into Algeria or Kyrgyzstan or whatever because they're trying to kick out the missionaries, Harry Reid makes that call to the dictator of whatever Eastern European country and says, you kick out those missionaries, you can say goodbye to this aid, and a bomb might drop next week. and suddenly the missionaries they're building 3 chapels and a temple. Okay,
Yeah, dude,
so
it's like, hey, yeah, that's a really nice NATO contract you got there, protecting you from the U.S. the remnants of the USSR. It'd be a shame if something happened in that NATO contract.
yeah, exactly.
You know?
So
Like-
that's kind of how I view. I
By the
can't,
way, why did
know-
you single out the Eastern European nations?
That's the example. I
Like,
think it
what are
was,
you
it was
saying,
a country
dog?
in Eastern Europe,
What
right?
are you saying? What are you saying about my fellow Slavs?
Oh yeah,
No,
you're Polish. Anyway, so that's my take on it. But I mean, I get their arguments against both, but at the same, I just feel like in terms of PR, BYU right now is trying not. They've had a PR disaster every year for the past decade. They are trying so hard, and that's probably one of the reasons why Shane Reese was called. They're trying to avoid PR disasters.
Well,
I
that's
get it.
because this is the failure of neoliberalism and suburban niceness culture. When you operate with the ethos of just trying to make sure you don't offend anybody, all that happens is you offend everybody somehow, eventually, a lot more frequently. And they need to drop the niceness culture. They need to drop the neoliberalism, and they need to start operating from a biblical, scriptural, and inspired standpoint, instead of just this, they enforce social norms from the 1960s harder than they enforce scriptural requirements of their students. You'll get kicked out faster for having that beautiful and tasteful stash that makes you look like Lando
No,
Calrissian.
you can have a stash at BYU. You just can't have a beard.
You're right. Just not a
I
beard.
need the
So anyway,
card.
we have invoked the name of the Cougar Chronicle. Again, we're putting this article up on the screen. We're going to have Luke Hansen here.
I have a hot take right before Luke chimes in.
Oh, that's a great time to bring Luke in right after a hot take.
Yeah.
Okay,
My
I'm
hot
sure
take
he'll
is this.
appreciate that.
My hot take is BYU will never crack down on the Black Menaces, nor will the church, and here is why. Here is why. Especially Kevin J. Worthington, because these old baby boomer LDS people,
Have guilt.
they were there. They were serving their missions. They served missions, a lot of them before the priesthood ban, and they all have guilt left over because they all remember being in some Boise, Idaho ward where they're like, look, I'm very thankful that some of you brethren are choosing the right side now. And even though you didn't in the premortal existence, I'm happy you are now. Like, people with old Mormon guys would say stuff like that. And they're like, and they feel and it's like they're going to let them do it. Like, honestly, that's a part of, I think we have to remember there's always a history that goes into these situations. That's why I wanted Nate on the show to hear his side of the story. And we're like, okay, so why did you create the Black Menaces? Because it's like, he goes, hey, look, I dealt with all this racism on campus. Here are the stories. This is exactly what happened. Here are the names. It's like, when you hear the backstories, the actions, you
Yeah,
understand
but
the actions
also,
more.
look, all the ex-Mormons, when they leave, all of a sudden they shroud their cruelty in noble sound bites. And we're going to put all arguments on the table here for and against the Black Menaces. Just recently, the video of one of the OG Black Menaces came out where he opened up his BYU diploma and he said, great, now that I got this, I can tell you why for the past 2 years I've basically hated the church, not wanted to be there, and done the Black Menaces, and now I'm going to have my expose podcast and start a podcast about how bad the church is. And when all of a sudden you do that, it kind of delegitimizes a lot of your 2 years of previous activism. Why? Because now you're no different than Calvin Burke, who
Wait, pause. It takes a lot to be Calvin Burke. Okay.
But this concept that now you're no different than, like, we argued on Jubilee, for example, with the girl who ended up sewing the LGBTQ flag into the inside of her shirt, and that was obviously her virtue signal at the time, and so on and so forth. And it's kind of like, well, how can you be saying in the Temple Recommender interviews that are part of your ecclesiastical endorsement that you do indeed support the brethren and the rules of the university and the honor code and so on and so forth, when you're obviously doing this massive display against it? And it's just like, it's cool. Like, I'm down for you to have that free speech. I'm down for you to be loud and proud about what you're loud and proud about. But you do end up not reversing, but you do end up casting a lot of doubt and eliminating your own authenticity.
I will say this, though. I think
about your previous activism.
I think you're conflating, though, progressive Mormons who graduate and then say they don't believe and political activists. Because if you look at most of Sebastian's media, a lot of it's political. He doesn't really address church doctrine stuff very much. It's mostly like Trump political stuff. So I don't think he's done anything to pretend as if he's an LDS
Where's
influencer.
this link, by the way? I'm not seeing it in
It's just-
you put it in the community Discord and reactions, right?
Yeah, it should take you 2
Oh,
seconds
here it
to
is.
find.
Okay, I just found it on Instagram,
Okay,
and we're
so-
gonna pull it up.
Anyway, so what I'm saying though is, he wasn't pretending he was a faithful LDS, influencer, and then graduates and goes, "No, I don't believe in any of this." So I don't think it's quite the same thing. We don't really know his faith story. I think it'd be great if he came on and we could actually, hear. I guess he's going to be posting it though, his side.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it's not. It isn't the same because when professional anti-Mormons, make their podcast and they say, "This is my experience in the church," and here's how awful it was, and active members go, "Okay, my experience was very different." It's not the same as race because nearly all the black students on BYU campus would probably agree with a lot of what the Black Menaces say in terms of what they've experienced. So it isn't the same thing because one's a religion. You have to be baptized to be LDS. You don't get baptized black. You're not like white and then you get baptized and you're like, "Oh, look at that." It's different. So, I kind of see it. I just don't think it's totally
So I'm going to
accurate.
pull this video up just like we pulled up the article, so everybody gets to say they were fairly represented and we didn't put words in anybody's mouths here. Okay, so here's your boy Sebastian, and here's his post. Just going to let it refresh.
Me a gift, and it's time to unbox it with you. It's my diploma. I'm free. I can now give you the step-by-step reason why I left the Mormon Church, and why BYU is one of the least favorable experiences for me.
Jeez.
And my other few favorite experiences also deal with the Mormon Church. So
That alarm.
I don't know,
scared the
top
crap
3
out of
for sure. Anyways, I can pull this out of here. I can officially say that I'm a college graduate and that BYU has zero hold on me ever again. And it's time to air out the business. But with this degree, oh my gosh, honestly, let me even look at it. I didn't even look at it yet. Brigham Young University, our recommendation of the
Okay, so anyway, we don't have to play the whole entire thing here. Everybody gets the gist. But I mean, if you're celebrating the fact that I got my degree now, and the moment I got my degree, I'm announcing my anti-Mormon podcast, everybody knows that there's an emotional and a philosophical runway up to this, and that the divide between the views that you've been espousing and the views of the gospel in many aspects, not all aspects, but in many aspects, are so far. This could not have happened overnight, which means you had to have been
But
lying
what are
during
those
those
views?
lives.
Here's why I think.
Proto-Marxism?
But we have to give an example of a TikTok. What are those views? Because what makes them
that's
effective
fair.
is that they don't really give their views. They just ask questions, and people then give the responses. So you have to give an example, or else you're assigning them a motive that they could come
Fair
back
enough.
and say, "Give me an example of one."
So actually, that's a really good example. And what I would do is actually I'll put the onus, because I'm not a middle ground player here, but I feel like I'm somebody that can see both sides of the argument. And instead of me trying to say what I think their sides of the argument are, I say we bring them on really fast. I bring him on. So we promised that we would have Luke Hansen here. By the way, Luke, that was a horrible introduction. I don't mean to announce you as like the literal poster boy of everything against the Black Menaces, but you are on the Cougar Chronicle and are familiar with the story as it has developed and so on and so forth. So we don't like vagaries on this channel, and I like that Kwaku's holding my feet to the fire and saying, hey, let's come up with specifics, not vagaries. So if I have time in between the different little comments and things like that, I will try and find a specific. And until I do, hey, it's all just hearsay and it's all just one guy's thought in cyberspace. While I'm looking for a lot of that, why don't you just jump in and tell us what's going on, my man?
All right. Got to check to make sure you guys can hear me.
Yes,
right? We're good?
absolutely. You sound great.
All right. I'm in my car. I'm on the road. I'm at a hotel.
Okay, you
So-
sound very racist. So, no, I'm just totally kidding. Just kidding. It's a
I
keep
will
going, bro.
proudly embrace the anti-Black menace thing. I will proudly embrace I cannot recognize Beyonce from a picture.
What?
And I will proudly embrace that we're going back to what Kwaku said before.
Can you
It was like 20
recognize at
minutes ago.
least Lando Calrissian? Can you recognize
Oh, yeah,
Lando
yeah,
Cal?
of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's some
Wait,
saying.
what? I'm sorry. What world am I living in
How-
where you know who Lando croissant and you don't know who Beyonce is? What are you?
One
What
who
is
likes
going
good
on?
art. A world where of people who only look at good art. Come on.
So
Anyways, didn't want to off track that, but yeah, Sebastian is
here it is. Kwaku, I know you're
he's
looking it
kind of-
up. Hold on. Luke, I'm sorry to stop you, but we do need to address this rabbit hole before
Gotta
we go
look at
further.
Lando
There's
Calrissian.
Lando
Like this guy?
Calrissian, bro.
How do you not know who Lando Calrissian is?
Look, Lando Calrissian, he's
This was a prank before the show. I've
No.
never seen this before, and you guys are gaslighting me, pretending as if like this is from the an episode of a TV show in 1961.
no,
that
it's
nobody
from The
seen.
Empire Strikes Back.
Kwaku. No, not even that. Episode 9 of Star Wars that did $1 billion point whatever dollars that just came out in 2019 had him returning as a character.
Yeah, this is
Like,
major Star
everybody
Wars
saw
lore,
episode
bro.
9.
Luke, who is this?
Well, I'm gonna.
That's-
That might be. It's kind of blurry, but that might be whoever starts with an R. Rihanna.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Good
okay.
job, brother.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
only because she did that cover with that song with Coldplay. I probably wouldn't know her if not for
Oh,
that.
once they do a collab with 21 Pilots, then you'll recognize them, right?
You don't know the song "Umbrella" by Rihanna?
Yeah, I know that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Jeez, I
genie
feel like
at Disneyland
Sebastian
would
now.
reference it sometimes.
Gosh.
Anyway, getting back
Okay,
on
Luke.
track.
Luke, keep talking, bro. Keep talking, baby.
So Sebastian has basically been the face of the Black Menaces for the past year or something. I actually spoke with Nate, the guy who was in the Black Student Union. I think he was the president, Nate Bird, right before they started Black Menaces. And we had a pretty good conversation. He seems pretty intellectually honest, even though we disagree on a couple things. Sebastian, I don't know Kwaku's interaction with him. Sebastian's a whole nother can of worms. And it is extremely political with him. He goes on, all the topics. He even had this video where it was something like his line of thinking when he was questioning this person was, if you don't know if a woman's parts down there get larger after repeated encounters with males, then you don't have a right to an opinion on an abortion. He literally went through this, asked this poor kid in the Wilk this series of questions about periods and reproduction, and then when he didn't know the answers to it, he said, so why do you have a right to tell a woman what to do with her body? Like, completely nonsensical, completely against the church's doctrine as a student at BYU, apparently. And so, yeah, he's just ridiculous, and he's a coward. Like, you can agree with his politics, you can disagree with his politics, but we at least all need to come together and admit that he's a coward, because he only will ask people questions. Like you guys said, he doesn't ever try to stick up for his own worldview. That's number one. Even worse, he's there apparently having these terrible moral problems with Mormonism, but he's still fine taking all the money that the grandmas on fixed income are giving into the church from their tithing until he gets out to then say that he has a problem. Like, if you have a problem and you have a moral qualm with the Mormon church, number one, leave it. Leave it. Don't take their free money. I don't care. Like, all you're saying when you're saying that, I waited until I got out and now I get to be done with them, all you're announcing to the world is that you can be bought. You can be bought. You can be told to shut up and not say certain things for a price, even things that you morally disagree with. And somehow he seems very proud of this, like in the video you showed, Cardin. I don't understand it. And somebody needs to sit him down and say, look, man, you need to have, here's what intellectual honesty is. Maybe he doesn't even understand that concept. And then after they sit him down through it, confront him with these things that he's done and said, and just ask for a modicum.
Well, so,
of
okay,
responsibility
so
on his part.
now, okay, so you've put him on the mat. Now I want to put you on the mat, Luke.
Yeah.
Kwaku has expressed a frustration, saying, look, at the end of the day, the Black Menaces really are kind of just a student group. That they're really kind of similar to the Cougar Chronicle, an unofficial, disorganized group of, not disorganized, but they weren't organized by the school. Unofficial. That's the word I was looking for. They're kind of like this unofficial, not from the organized, but group that kind of organized themselves around a like-minded idea of what kind of seems to be a lot of these woke or proto-Marxist and culturally Marxist arguments, as Jordan Peterson would say. Okay. And that's not just to dismiss them wholesale and discredit them, but simply just to kind of let our audience know what camp they're arguing from. And they formed their little Instagram page and their TikTok page. And sure, they had the mainstream media blowing into their sails, and they kind of had the peak of wokeism blowing into their sails. But they were also putting in hard work, making, shooting, and editing content. And just like John DeLim blew up in the early days of the internet because the Mormon church just like was not present on the battlefield, a lot of people were talking about cowardice. And Kwaku said earlier in the show, said like, why didn't the Cougar Chronicle fight the Black Menaces harder? Because basically the Black Menaces are kind of just like the opposite of the Cougar Chronicle. The Cougar Chronicle wasn't really an official thing. It was a bunch of like-minded kind of conservative people. And they kind of started their Instagram page, and it kind of blew up with the BYU volleyball hoax and so on and so forth. So a big problem and big gripe that we've had with conservatives, especially like when Professor Pagan was asked to speak, is they kind of sit back and complain and whine. They don't necessarily, or at least we didn't have evidence that they were trying to push their own speakers, and their own speakers were getting denied. So like, it's kind of harder to feel bad for the counter argument when those that should be presenting the counter argument don't seem to show up as much as they should. What do you say to that?
I don't know how you would make that accusation against the Cougar Chronicle, because the Cougar Chronicle exists. So it is literally people doing something about it. And we're not popular. Like, the church isn't popular.
It's an uphill battle.
Popular.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle for sure.
Chastity's not popular. Yeah. And at least we're out there putting our own ideas out there and trying to advocate for them while exposing and complaining about bad stuff that's actually happening in administration.
That's fair.
And I'm not going to say that we're perfect or that the Black Menaces was completely terrible. Like I said, props to Nate for talking to me a little before they did this. We did a podcast together. Like, it's hidden away on the internet on Spotify somewhere.
Okay.
But just the tact of, and who knows how many students they interview, if they're intentionally picking the worst ones for the clicks, like,
well,
who knows?
We still
But
haven't given an
just, like,
example of any of the
asking-
interviews.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's dump them in. Yeah.
Until we
Yeah,
do that,
yeah.
we just sound like we're
Let
moaning.
me pull up. So you just want me to pull up
Just go to their TikTok.
yeah, let's just go to their TikTok. So here we are for the audience that is trying to figure out what on earth we're talking about. The Black Menaces are ubiquitous on
What is
Mormon
Walmart
TikTok.
actually hiding?
Oh, whoa.
So in 2015,
that was Joe Rogan talking about what Walmart is actually hiding. So now if we search the Black Menaces, I am not a TikToker. That is for sure. All right. What's their handle, my man? So I make sure that I got the official one coming up.
It should just be the Black Menaces.
It's not the Black Menaces of Minnesota. There's the Black dude. So many
It's-
people are trying. You know that they're popular when look at this. When you try and pull them up, and there's 15 million.
It should be the one with the most followers.
Like yeah, but look, there's like 30 fake accounts. So Kwaku, keep talking. I'm gonna look and see which one this is that has the most followers.
Yeah.
So
I can tell. I have a quick story or two
well, just
about Black Menaces in the world.
hit it up. Just you can
If you
say
wanna-
it as long as it's germane to the conversation. Also, I got to read a couple of
Very
super
germane.
chats here. I got to read a couple of super chats really fast. If you guys have any opinions, make sure that you send us a super chat. And as long as it is relevant to the conversation and
Oh,
appropriate.
it's actually Black Menaces on TikTok, not the.
Okay,
It's just
it's
username is
Black
Black
Menaces.
Menaces.
That was it on TikTok. Okay, cool. So here we go. 74.2K followers. I'll look it up in a second. Here's a couple of super chats. Stephen Diamond says, we need to build more BYUs. I say BYU, Mexico, Brazil, Ghana, and the Philippines. Would they say the people who go there racist? Professor Kwaku? Oh, yeah, that's funny. Like, this is definitely an American argument. When you talk to people outside of the United States of America, they just view us as the rich people and all people are Americans. Like, the foreign concept of America is so much more united than what we are. Like, it just, when they see a black guy in an American military uniform, that's an American. When they see a white guy, that's an American. When they see a Mexican guy, that's an American. When they see a Filipino, redhead, or whatever, that's an American, And so I think there's actually kind of a beauty in that perspective. Then Pauline Nikes says, how many of these self-inflicted wounds are directly attributed to the suburban niceness culture of a certain generation that will go nameless, because I'm committed to Ed not to say it as often as possible, running the church office building. I don't know if I'd say it's the office building, but I definitely believe Kweku's right that there's a lot of people who are not touching the subject as well as or as often as it should be, because frankly they're just fearful, because there's a lot of odd guilt that people my age do not share.
I'm looking at their TikTok.
Okay.
I'm only seeing interviews. I don't see any
I admit I stopped watching them after what I saw 2 years ago.
Okay.
What I saw 2 years ago was pretty cruel.
I think we got to pull them up.
So
because
yeah,
if
let's
not,
pull them up.
We're just
So what's the exact call sign here, so I can pull it up? If there's any question whether or not we're broadcasting,
it's Black Menaces. They have 700,000 followers. It should be really easy to find.
Okay, so Black Menaces There's Black Menaces of Minnesota.
It should be the first one when you look it up.
Yeah, I know I am, but right now it just says 74.2K followers.
Are you putting a space?
It's Real Sebastian. No, I thought you don't put a space in TikTok, so who knows? Maybe I was doing that wrong. So
no, there is no space. I just don't. It's the first thing it pulls up. That's why it should be the first thing.
Okay, if you could, because the first thing that pulls up for me is Black Menaces with 1 followers. It says with no bio yet, and 3.
Are you using an account to look them up?
I'll put it in
just put it in the Discord. Just put it in the Discord. So anyway,
and
say your thing, Luke. Say your thing.
Okay,
yeah, I work at universities around Virginia right now, and so sometimes I'll mention that I go to BYU, and I've had 2 times. I've only told people I've gone to BYU a couple of times. I've had 2 instances, both at Liberty University, so like the premier Christian private university in the United States. And I'd mention I went to BYU, and they're like, "Oh, BYU," and I say, "You've heard of it?" Yeah, it's where have you heard it from? Well, there's an account called, is it Black Menaces? Yes, it is. Okay, what have you heard from Black Menaces? The first girl asked, "Do you guys still have segregated elevators or separate?" She used the word separate elevators. And I said, "I have no idea what you're talking about." I think she was trying to ask if we have separate male and female elevators in like the dorms or so. I don't know, but she got her information from Black Menaces, and her first question was, "Do you still have separate elevators?" So they say they're out there educating people about BYU and bringing things to light. That was somebody's first impression of BYU that they got from Black Menaces. And then the other one was same conversation again. And her question was, she just started asking about all these rules that we had about like the honor code, which Liberty University also has. So it wasn't some sort of foreign concept to her, but she just thought the rules were way more bizarre and way more strict than they actually were. And she apparently had gotten most of her information from Black Menaces. So they just don't appear to even be accomplishing what they claim that they're accomplishing based on my interactions with students.
Okay,
I feel like
we're losing this debate because we haven't looked at their stuff.
No, I'm putting it on the screen now. I was letting him tell his story. I mean, he's telling his lived experience, right? We all try and try and respect that, all right?
That's true.
At the same time, I would say I'm a little bit sympathetic to a lot of arguments that Luke is. I'm sympathetic to arguments you're making because I've had the cancel culture mob come after me when not a lot of people were defending me, and the few people that did, they're freaking bros for life. So when you had the cancel culture mob coming after you and these cats were the only ones that defended you, I could see why they're bros for life. And I actually kind of share that, like, I feel like, like vicariously, dude, like you defended my boy Kwaku and there's not a lot of us that do it. So like, I am also very sympathetic to these cats. I will say though, I've seen them do a lot of things that are kind of cruel, and the first check, we're just doing a social media check here. So we're using specifics. When you're like only 6th or 7th video that I see is a brutal, I mean, it's basically essentially a mockery, and we can pull it up right here. It's above this corner right there, that video right there. When you can just tell, just because of the tone and tenor and the looks on their faces of these people, that they're mocking Brad Wilcox for the at best, I mean at worst inartful, at best trying to make an example commentary they had in that youth fireside about why do we ask about 1978? Why don't we ask about 1831 or whatever? Even you said that's not a fair comparison. And that's like right there, one of the first videos that comes up in the birth of their channel. And you come through here.
Well,
and
we should watch it.
Okay, let's watch it.
Our reaction to Brad Wilcox's second apology.
Now, this has been a hard week for me.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
We're going to be speaking tonight about trusting in the Lord. And this has been one of those weeks when I have needed to trust in the Lord.
Us too. Oh, really?
Some of you may have heard about a talk I gave last Sunday night. Now, it wasn't the first time that I've given that talk.
We heard that too.
And it wasn't the first time I've used the ideas I shared or the line of reasoning that I used to try to address some difficult topics. In the past, I failed to see how my comments could be seen as insensitive.
Okay, so we get the gist of this, right? And we want to use specifics. You know,
it's not too bad.
Not too bad. It's only the first one we brought up, but I can see.
I'm saying though, but that's I don't think that's enough to indict them on what
Fair.
you guys have said. Like I'm looking for an example of
Who's you guys?
you and Luke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Caucasians.
I was about going to say, there we go.
I need an example.
I think
of
I
them
gave a
promoting
pretty
Marxism.
compelling example, though.
Yeah, let's find the exact
Like,
video.
apparently this girl has been watching all these Black Menaces videos, and she just seems to have no concept of what BYU is like whatsoever.
Oh yeah, I
even
know,
though
but
that's
also
what they
like
claim to be.
you're 3,000 miles away and you reference a girl we don't like. I'm just saying
Well,
we got to.
TikTok
let's
doesn't
do
care how
something.
far
Gotta-
away you are.
Let's do something random. Look, I'm going to pull it up and let's just choose. So we're all fair
Let's
here.
just pick a random
We ought to be
one.
fair. Let's just choose. So, Kwaku, pick a number between 1 and 7.
5.
5. And then C for Lando Calrissian, which is the third. Okay, so I'm going to start from the bottom. All right. And then we'll just go up 5 and over 3. So up 1 row, 2 row, 3 row, 4 row, 5 row, and then over 3. Here we go. Asking BYU students.
How many
if they-
black friends do you have at BYU?
Honestly, none. That's okay. But honestly, I'm kind of awkward and I don't have a lot of friends anyway,
No worries. Thank you.
I have 2 friends that are black at BYU.
I have one.
I don't have any black friends at BYU. Same to you.
Unfortunately, I don't either.
I wish I did. I wish I did. I want to be friends with you guys. We can make that happen.
2. What's the names? Yamin and Isaiah. Oh, not Yamin. Okay, cool.
None.
Oh, dang.
One. My roommate.
Well, I actually have quite a few just from like the other athletic teams. I don't know. I can't really count.
Are you an athlete?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so anyway, we get the point of this.
It's not really Marxist.
No, that specific one, no. But I've heard a lot of arguments, especially, I know you're sympathetic to a lot of the Palestinian arguments. You know what I'm saying? Of the modern day.
So is the world.
So is the world, all right? And I'm not going to open up the Israel v. Palestine Gaza argument on this podcast with you.
No, but I want to make sure, I want to make sure one thing.
We're not doing what we hate people do to us.
Yes. And you know, Carden, you have not elegantly.
Eloquently. Yes.
Eloquently made the case that they are promoting Marxism or anti-Mormonism in a Trojan horse in disguise. But what makes them effective is that they can always say, look, we don't promote any belief really. We just ask people questions. So
we're just asking questions.
We do need an example of
questions.
them, promoting anti-Mormonism or Marxism. And then if we don't have that example, then it seems as if you're
well, right now, okay, well, you're talking about a past thing, and I'm saying, hey, until we have that, I think I think Luke made a very specific argument talking about a video. And Luke, hey, if you find it, you can send it to us. We'll put it up. For right now, because we indeed want to be fair and not do what we hate people doing to us, we're saying scrub that. We're going to look at random videos, and then we're going to discuss them, all right? And we'll say bygones are bygones for the sake of argument in this podcast, and we're just choosing letters and just randomly auditing the TikTok page in order to be fair. And I'm all about fair. So I would say I'm sympathetic to guys like Luke saying, you know, if you're trying to get along and increase, you know, as you may have said in some of their more official PR statements, and as they may have said in some articles that I've read and some commentary that I've seen on them, that you're just trying to increase awareness, like their website says, and they're trying to, you know, foster a dialogue and that great phrase that they all say that we never actually believe, that they're trying to start a conversation and have a conversation. When you're basically going through the Wilk, calling into question, because that is the insinuation of this video, calling into question somebody's, I don't know, how many friends they have as some kind of measure of whether or not, like, I don't know, the university is racially sensitive or, you know, they're a racist or not a racist. I mean, what else would be the purpose of this video, Kwaku, if you're walking around and you're trying to selectively ask a bunch of white kids how many black friends they have?
Well, like, if you've presupposed that someone is a Marxist, then you're going to see, you're going to read that into it.
Oh no, that's not Marxism. To me, that's just cruelty. No, and I said my biggest problem
to this is like, all the students seem to be laughing, right? Like, there's nothing harmful about this video. I think it's funny.
You think they're laughing or they're sweating bullets?
Oh, I don't think they're sweating bullets.
Okay.
No. If you play this back, I don't think any of them are nervous.
Okay,
at all.
this is where I will.
Have you seen some of the comment sections? Like, I think Black Menaces knows what they're doing. At least after the 10th video, they knew what they were doing.
Okay,
like, the amount of anti-BYU...
though, like, we've shifted many goalposts. Because
I just hopped on here because I heard you were doing this thing.
I know.
I didn't come
you're in
out
your
with
car.
like
and
an
Luke, by the way,
statement
I
and
don't know what it
rebuttals and
is,
everything.
but no matter what, I think only 4 times in this show you have not had terrorist lighting. Every single time.
I have the full setup, but I go on the road a lot. I go over Virginia to these
You were in a
campuses.
garage one time, I swear, with the Taliban. I swear the Taliban was filming.
Oh, that's funny.
If you keep asking questions, you might find yourself.
I think, and maybe we have to do a follow-up, but I think we need to get, because that one, it's like, look, when people, okay, do you remember the TikToks that the high schoolers were making in 2019 when TikTok first started? And it was really funny. And
it was Musically. It used to be called Musically.
There was one TikTok this teenage black guy would do, and he would go up to people at football games, and he would say, he would be like, hey, can you say the word neighbor? And they'd be like, yeah, neighbor. But he would put a bleep in the middle of neighbor to make it sound like they were saying the N-word. And it was clearly funny.
Brutal.
And by the time we got to the third TikTok, he'd be like, hey, what's that Mr. Rogers movie called? And the guy's like, no, you're going to put a bleep in there. And it was obviously really funny.
Okay.
And nobody was upset. Like, but nobody was, if he had made that TikTok now, people would have been like, look, it's wokeism. And he was really just someone being funny. I don't see the TikTok we just walked as anything like, I think it's mostly like an experiment, you know. But we need to find.
Well, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going.
So I put something in the Discord. This is the one I was referencing with Sebastian. So this is one of the more recent ones when it seems like it's only Sebastian, basically.
Okay, well,
that's been doing it for like the past 8 months. The other people have graduated, they've moved, they're doing other stuff. Okay. Mostly Sebastian now.
I'm going to put it up.
Oh my gosh, look at this stupid comment from Carson H. Kwaku running defense for them put loyalty to skin in his past, not the church, God, its members he covenanted to support. It's like, look, listen.
Well, you
most
can
serious
truth.
guy in the room.
We're trying to get to the bottom.
Yeah,
of
like
here.
if you think if you don't like someone because of whatever, and I'm covenanting to the blacks and not to the church because it's like.
Okay, so here we go.
Those are the comments that get these guys popular because they get to showcase that and be like,
if
look,
you
Mormons
were, it would probably be a cool ritual.
That's funny. Okay. All right. Well, you asked for specifics here. Luke's brought up some specifics, so here we go. 3, 2, 1. BYU female anatomy quiz. Oh, this isn't going to get me busted on.
First question is, can women have sex while they're pregnant?
Oh, I saw this one. All right. Okay, keep going.
I don't think so.
Okay. Second question is, could you define what ovulation is? Like what that is?
No.
Okay. Do you think that women's vaginas get more enlarged with the more partners they have?
Like,
no.
Okay. Good.
This guy does
Question
not look
here
like
is-
he's having fun.
Do you know how many holes women have
What?
in their private area?
No.
You don't know?
No.
Okay.
Look, you can tell this kid, right? I mean, at what point is this just cruelty? That guy, he literally like. I don't.
So we have some from like the private Cougar Chronicle channels. I can't remember if it was this video or if it was a very similar video to it. People who do these interviews and then realize afterwards what's happening will like be afraid to go on campus after it happens.
Yeah.
Or they'll delete all their social medias. We had one Cougar Chronicle person like see somebody just after one of these videos happened to them and go up to them and say like, hey, like we're from the Cougar Chronicle. If you want like somebody on your corner or something, then like, no, I just need it gone. I don't want to talk about it. I want it to be over. This past week's been terrible. Please don't approach me again. Like, you talk about understanding the cancel culture, Carden, like doing just the power of social media. Humans were never meant to be exposed to this much negative attention.
Oh no, I am with you when I say
we were in our little plans,
weird.
we were in our little groups, and you would do something stupid, and people would be like, "That's stupid," and then we'd all get over it. You were not meant to have thousands of random strangers online spewing all these comments about how stupid you are that each get hundreds of likes, and just have to deal with that in your pocket that you can get out and look at whenever you want to.
Yeah, and let's finish.
And at this point, I think Sebastian knows. We've at least tried to make him aware. I know BYU has told us that they've asked them to stop, and he just keeps doing it.
Okay, Quaker, what do you say
and
to
at
that?
least use good logic if you're going to do something like that. But you'll at the end of this video, it's like, if you don't know how many holes a female has, for some reason you have no opinion on if she should kill her baby or not.
Well, I just think it's funny.
Like-
I know exactly where they are at the Wilk, and that's right near the Jamba Juice. And it's like, if I ever find myself by a Jamba Juice in a conversation about vaginas, I just feel like the whole optics are off.
But also, look,
like,
if you're going to BYU, there's an aspect of you that has to answer the question: are you a Christian person? Are you mourning with those that mourn? Are you?
yeah, this
you
one
know,
seems like he's definitely
he is picking on this kid.
He's going after a reaction here, and I don't. Though,
by the way,
it doesn't make Sebastian look good. Like, this guy is uncomfortable and awkward. He's like fiddling his bottle because you can see the stress, and it's like it's
honestly, I hate to say
weird.
it. As a kid that has volunteered ad nauseum with all kinds of kids that are on the spectrum and are special needs kids and things like that, because my mom was a special needs teacher. This is the stress level of a kid this is the look on the face of a kid who's being asked to do a task that he's not mentally capable of. Like, this is a guy who's watching, if he's savvy, he's watching his life flash before his eyes because he knows exactly what's happening. He's trying to just make it end as quickly as he can without looking as stupid as he can. And Sebastian knows this, and he's laughing at him. He's ridiculing him as he's getting all these bad answers that he knows. This is just cruel. As a guy, I'm no edgelord comedian, but as a guy that goes hard in the paint, I think this is beyond the pale. And so let's let the video finish.
Last question is, would you consider yourself to be more pro-life or pro-choice?
I would consider myself to be more pro-life.
Okay. Do you feel like it's fair to be pro-life if you don't know much about the woman's like body and anatomy to then control woman's body?
I don't actually know. I haven't thought about it.
That was cruel. And that was my opening statement. Like, this, I've probably only seen about 5 or 6 videos of the Black Menaces. This was probably video number 3 or 4 that I saw. I'd estimate about 18 months ago. Okay. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, first off, why choose the topic of pro-life unless you're supporting it? Because the things we talk about, and the number one rule that you learn in documentary filmmaking is that the ideas that you platform are the ones that you support, basically, most likely, and that you glorify the everyday in documentary filmmaking. Well, if what you're trying to do is basically quiz people on how well they know the female anatomy, and then tie their qualification to knowing about the female anatomy as being a requisite for knowing whether or not it's murder or not murder, or being qualified qualified in the position or not. You're mocking the capability, like Luke says, of being able to opine on whether it's moral or not. And so they're obviously, by the nature of their questions, advocating for the proto-Marxist position of abortion being good. True or not true, Kwaku? This video is advocacy for abortion.
I'm not going to say that because I don't know. But I will say, like, that one was kind of awkward. I don't think it necessarily indicts them of Marxism or anti-Mormonism. It is awkward and weird.
Well, it's not the pro-lifers that are making all the proto-Marxist arguments, bro.
No, I know. But you know, at the same time, it's also like, is he doing something that's worth being like I don't think he's doing anything like horrible. It's just kind of awkward and weird. I think he picked a bad guy to ask. I think he probably should have picked someone who's a little more,
well,
you know.
It's not like this was live. He chose to selectively edit it, and then publish it.
Yeah, this one would have stayed in the drafts if I was him.
Exactly.
But,
and so,
you know,
by the way, this is cultural Marxism.
I just don't think we found anything that's like punchy enough. That's the only problem.
Look,
it does still seem like we're
not saying that these guys are the Rosenbergs.
For the people who show up in these videos, it is punchy enough. Like, it is not fun for these people.
No, I totally get that. Like the way the comments are reacting is very, very bad. But I just don't think we've seen anything from them so far, which proves the stuff that's been said yet. That's my only. And
if you're talking specifically about Marxism, I'm not going to speak for the whole. I think it was like 6 people that started Black Menaces or something like that. But Sebastian, like I said, I just walked out of my hotel and hopped on a Zoom. But he has said stuff like that for the Marxism type of thing specifically. So okay. I don't think we need to really argue that point and try to prove it from the TikToks. Then I don't really have like a specific whether the rest of them are or aren't.
I think we need them on the show. I think the only way to put this to bed is to have one of them on the show.
Who are we inviting again?
I'll invite them all. And whoever
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I think we need them on the show.
Pretty cool. I think Nate's pretty cool.
Because I think 50-50 of the audience is going to be like, okay, I agree with Card, and the other 50% are like, we need more evidence. We need the real meat to prove this is true.
Well, look, here's one right now. I guess we can put it up here, asking black students if they would come to BYU knowing what they know now. Let's just see what this one says.
Knowing what you know now, would you still choose to come to BYU, and why?
Yes, because I wanted to experience something new.
To be honest, yes and no. Yes, because, man, it's an advantage being black, because, like, I go to class, professor never forgets my name. But also maybe no, because I do miss Texas and I miss black people, so it kind of goes both ways. Yes and no.
That guy, actually, whoever that is, he seems really cool. I want to be his friend.
He was a security guard once at one of my events.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he seems pretty fun, dude. That guy, I'm like, that guy's funny.
He's also an entrepreneur.
Is he
if
really?
I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Hey, dude, we vibe, dude. Us entrepreneurs, we vibe. Okay, let's keep going. Rest of the video.
I would say no, because knowing that the system doesn't really work for me, and also the culture is very different than what I grew up with in my own home, and I would like to be around people who have a lot of things in common than me, so BYU is just kind of not it.
Okay, cool. So there was one, and if I remember correctly, Kwaku, correct me if I'm wrong, they made like 3 or 4 of those. And
I'm not sure.
That's actually the very, very first video I ever saw of them was one asking students, like, basically, do you think that BYU is racist, and so on and so forth. And it was a mixed bag that was not, I did not get the vibe that it was edifying content trying to cure historic claims both against the church, against black people, against white people. I kind of viewed the Black Menaces in the beginning with a little bit of hope, similar to the Black Lives Matter hashtag. That was a cool hashtag, Black Lives Matter. And it was something when I first saw it, I actually thought, you know what, I could get behind this. Like, it's not tired, it's fresh, it's new, but it's also representing a timeless argument. Like, awesome. And then it became the justification of like any mostly peaceful protest out there for like 2 years. And if you went to a BLM protest, it was A-okay. You didn't have to get tested for COVID. But, you know, if you actually went out jogging at Huntington Beach, then we're going to arrest you. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, wow, and Black Lives Matter became what it was. The next thing you know, Patrice Cullors is buying mega mansions in the Topanga Canyon Mall. Meanwhile, I can't point to any, I don't know, major scholarship program that they came up with, but all of their heads are buying, you know, multi-million-dollar mansions in the nicest neighborhoods where I live in Los Angeles. Like it became the bully that it purported to fight against in the beginning, right? And when I first heard about the Black Menaces, I was like, be a menace. Yeah, that's cool, man. Like, that's a sick name. Let's do this. And I kind of ended up being kind of like a similar way that I view Barack Obama. I was actually kind of excited when he got elected. I remember writing in my journal that night that like there's, whether you loved him or hated him or liked the Democrats or hate the Democrats, there's a feeling in the air that an old epoch has died. We've closed a chapter and a fresh chapter is opening. And who else could be more poised to cure the racial divide in America? The 90s did a lot to cure it, I think. But I thought he would be uniquely poised to be America's cheerleader. Because why? He's half white and he's half black. The two biggest racial groups of North America have met together to create this wonderfully charismatic, great public speaking president. He's going to be America's biggest cheerleader. We're going to finally put this whole race thing to bed, and he's going to be leading the charge. And sure, maybe that was me just superimposing my positivity and my romanticism upon him.
All I know is when I was a kid,
and he ended up being the most divisive president America's ever had in that regard.
Well, I totally disagree, because when I was a kid, people were making jokes, and they're like, I can't believe Obama, he's a secret Muslim. He's going to make the White House black. It was all that stuff. So I didn't think he was causing the divide. I mean, I think Trump's been more divisive.
Never got richer, and I think there was some missteps that he had in some very, very...
I don't think he was the most divisive. I think that's way too much.
This is Pew Research. This is... like the polls that were done. Now, sure, just because a group of people think stupidly doesn't mean necessarily the person they think stupidly about.
I think that's a whole different debate. But
fair enough.
Yeah, no, I think we've not really I'm just looking to see the evidence. I've seen Black Menaces, but I haven't seen anything that makes it Marxist. So I think there has to be a follow-up episode. Maybe one of them can come on to say, hey, look, here is also, and then it's kind of like woke. What does Marxist actually mean? Because I feel like the word woke is dying because it's starting to mean too much.
Cultural Marxism. Come on. If you don't support abortion, if you don't support abortion, for example, you are out. You're kicked out of polite society. Can't get a job. They're going to come after your HR if you do. Like it's the new McCarthyism, bro. You know.
I feel like isn't like 50%
Marxism,
and Roe v. Wade was overturned, and a lot of people celebrated. So. I don't think you'd get fired for being pro-life.
Well, it depends on the job. But
Fair.
But Luke, give your definition.
Karl Marx, Workers of the World Unite. History is cast as a struggle between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, the capitalist and the laborer. And the end of history is that the laborers are going to rise up, overthrow capitalism. Capitalism is actually a step along the way of the natural progress of man to essentially become his own god and eradicate all economic inequalities and live in the communist state. Communism is the final step. America did not take to that very well because America already had tons of economic opportunities. So the followers of Marx in the Frankfurt School in the early 20th century needed to develop a way to get these ideas, this mindset, into Americans that was a little more palatable to them.
First question is, can women have sex while...
Oops, sorry. Keep going.
And so cultural Marxism was the ideas of Marx applied to the culture. So, and they were usually called critical studies. So then you have critical race theory, you have critical fat studies, you have queer theory, transgender theory, all that kind of stuff. And it basically sees society as a struggle between whatever victimized class, whether it's women, whether it's blacks, whether it's fats, whether it's LGBTQ, against the opposite of that. And the goal of the Marxists is to agitate those minority classes and recruit allies from the suppressor groups to then overthrow that system and instate a new utopia.
And Kwaku,
unfortunately, usually through the oppression of the supposed oppressor class. This is the classic quote from Ibram X. Kendi in his monumentally popular book, How to Be Anti-Racist.
Well, the Black
the
Menaces
answer
is
to
advocated.
discrimination yesterday is discrimination today.
Okay,
so we're saying the Black Menaces have advocated that publicly.
Well, look.
Sebastian has. I actually
hold
just
on,
looked through his
Luke.
Instagram.
Luke,
Sorry.
hold on.
Sorry.
I want you to look at this, Kwaku. I'm pulling up, like we've agreed to not speak in vagaries and only in specifics, but according to Luke's very eloquent definition right now, that really is their social media page. Like, as I scroll through here, first it's, all of the Pride events, the strikeout homophobia rally, all of these Pride talks. I don't know what you call TikTok during Pride Month.
All I see is strikeout queerphobia, but I don't see anything. We haven't proven they're Marxists. There's nothing.
No, but he literally just defined Marxism as all of these intersectional ideas being applied socially or culturally, and that's cultural Marxism. And then when we go on their look, here's a TikTok with nothing but
play it.
Okay, well, sure.
Okay, so our question is, how are you going to celebrate Pride Month this year?
Ooh, I want to do a lot about education this year, and I want to start reminding everyone of our past and how we got here, and then because we're here for queer youth, start giving that education to them, because we don't learn queer history in school.
Absolutely.
So it's really up to us.
Cool.
So that's what I plan to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, the question I have for you is, what advice do you have for someone who may not be out yet but is thinking about coming out?
Well, I guess first and foremost, the most important thing to note is that you're in a safe space and a safe environment. Everyone's living situation is totally different, and it's possible that you could be, with family members or people that are not necessarily going to put you in a safe space. So acknowledge that first, and if you're having a tough time with it, still just kind of know that.
By the way, who are they talking about? These are all the same tropes rehearsed against BYU and the Mormon Church. This idea that, you're going to get kicked out if you're gay, and I don't think that's fair, and it gets recycled far too often to such a degree that it ends up being a bludgeon to use against members of the church.
I didn't see that. I just haven't seen. I don't think your thesis is being justified, guys. I haven't seen Marxism. I saw two guys say we want to teach gay history, and then another guy say you can come out.
Not economic Marxism, but intersectionalism.
I know,
which is literally, as Ibram X. Kendi defined,
intersectional cultural Marxism, but that still doesn't seem like an example. Like, if a gay person saying we should teach people gay history is cultural Marxism.
Video. Okay, here's the example. Show me one video on their entire TikTok page, bro.
No, the burden of proof's on you, not me.
No, I'm showing it. No, the burden of proof of your statement is on you. Show me one video where they've advocated for traditional marriage. I see 50.
But
where they've obviously hitched their wagons to the gay
I'm
pride events.
I'm not
to the
saying
gay pride.
No, the burden of proof isn't on me, because you're saying they are this thing. I'm saying I want proof they are this thing.
I'm content.
So where's the proof that they are that thing?
Hold on. I am
in
content.
the Discord.
Well, okay, I'll look your thing up in the Discord. But Kwaku, I am content. I'm not trying to gish gallop you here, but I'm saying if we're just saying we're not using vagaries, we're going to use specifics, and we're just doing today's social media audit, just like we do with John DeLynn, just like we did with More Good Foundation a couple of weeks ago, so on and so forth. If I just take a cursory look at this, I do not see a single post that is ostensibly and obviously pro-traditional marriage. But I see a ton of posts where he's on John DeLynn, the number one, or they're posting content. Here's 7 or 8 TikToks about people that are on the Mormon Stories podcast, which is the number one anti-Mormon podcaster, number one social justice warrior against the church.
I do want to say, though, they rent out a studio, but that's actually just their YouTube podcast.
No, okay. No, but I'm saying they made posts. Look here. This is posts from Stacey Harkey on
that's Stacey on the Black Menaces podcast. They rent out his studio.
Oh, great. Well, so either way, so there's wow, they're so tight with the guy. They're giving him money now. That's great. Even better. So look, and there's a bunch of videos that are obviously very pro-pride flag and the symbolism of the pride flag has changed from being the fighting for equal rights that we were fighting for at Stonewall to all of a sudden being, as many call it, the bully flag. And so I haven't seen a single post that is obviously pro-traditional marriage and the traditional definition of the family as the Mormon Church and BYU has it. I haven't seen a single post that is as loud and proud for the traditional family as it is for all of these gay pride events.
I know,
so
but it
is
kind of
that
sounds
not
like
proof right there?
No, it kind of sounds like you're saying you're guilty until proven innocent.
No, I'm saying, look,
Because-
there's no virtue signal that they support.
Yeah, but that doesn't
the traditional
that doesn't
family.
make-
Which, hold on, let me finish. You asked for proof.
I know,
And
but
the
that's a negative. That's not a positive.
No, the claim, Kwaku.
Yes,
the claim is they're cultural Marxists.
Yes.
And you say, define cultural Marxism. And then Luke jumps on the screen and he defines it as all the culturally Marxist arguments, for example, the intersectional ones. And I just picked one, the argument about being for or against gay marriage. And if you're both sides,
I'm going
in
to
it-
talk. Okay. You're saying they're cultural Marxists. So I said, give the evidence they're cultural Marxists. But the evidence is they're posting cultural Marxist things. So what is a cultural Marxist thing? And so far, wait, I'm not done. So far, it's been a post that says strike out queerphobia and two gay guys. One of them said teach gay history, and the other saying you can come out. That doesn't count as, I don't see that as intersectional cultural Marxism. It does, if you're so I don't. So I'm saying, where does the evidence? And if you say the evidence is I don't see traditional marriage, that's not giving evidence. That's saying there's a lack of.
That is evidence. This is basic math. If you want to come across as somebody that's trying to have a conversation or just create awareness about sides of the argument and not somebody that's espousing a very specific side of the argument, then you're going to have 3 posts for, 3 posts against. Perfect example, us and the silly Mesoamerican versus Heartlanders argument. Whenever I do 2 videos with Jonathan Neville, I make sure I throw up 2 videos with Jonathan Grover so that nobody can accuse me of taking a side. Well, in their social media profile, they're obviously taking a side. They're choosing to post a lot more content that is in favor of all of the culturally Marxist pro-gay
What
positions.
is that content? Because so far we saw
all of these videos. Look, I put them on your screen.
Click on one, because every time we click and watch one, it's not.
Hashtag Pride Month.
Watch
hashtag
it. Okay.
all the little flags.
I think you're assigning things, because every video we've watched.
What else is the iconography of the
I'm going to
rainbow
finish the
flag?
sentence, because you're not letting me finish. You're talking over.
Okay.
Here's the
I'm not
reality.
talking,
We
I'm
watched
yelling.
one episode. We watched one TikTok, and I saw 2 gay guys. One of the gay guys said we should teach history, and the other said you can come out. That I don't think that's insanity. We watched another one where they said, how many black friends do you have? And they're like, I got a couple. I'm on the athletes. Okay, that's not Marxism. We watched another one where he's talking about vaginas. That's weird. I don't see the Marxism. You've just said, look at the thumbnails where it says strike out queerphobia, and I see a flag. None of that is evidence that of a political philosophy, of a communistic political philosophy you're saying they have. You've given no evidence of it. Thumbnails doesn't prove that. And you're saying they are this thing until they prove that they're posting a pro-family proclamation, whatever. You're assigning them a narrative and saying prove yourself innocent. Nothing has gone forward where I have seen them say, you know what? Do you think that BYU is really, and Utah in general, is an oppressor, and that we have to fight against the oppressive system that's been foisted upon us unfairly? I want to see that TikTok. If that TikTok exists, fair. But I haven't seen that.
Okay, Kwaku, this is my last sentence on this.
Am I right? I mean, that's fair. I'm saying I want to see the
I
meat.
hear you. So I'm saying I want to choose to believe you and your reasoning on this, but me believing you and your reasoning on this boils down to one question. Are you telling me you do not sense that the overwhelmingly consistent take towards a positive reference of the side that what we call cultural Marxism adopts, you don't think there's an insinuation in a lot of these videos against the position of the church?
I would say in Sebastian's personal videos now, yes. But I would say most of these people just seem like mainstream Democrats to me.
Okay, that's fair.
They seem like Biden Democrats.
Okay, fine. And you don't think can you?
I don't see a lot of AOC
Can
flavor
you give
here.
grace? Can you give grace to people that are apprehensive about the Black Menaces because it seems like they're going against sincerely held and beloved positions of the church?
In regard to abortion, sure, because it's pretty clear he's pro-life. But anything else, any other thing, like we spent 40 minutes here just trying to find evidence of those claims, and I haven't seen it. That's the only problem.
Well,
so I want to see evidence.
To me, it's overwhelming and obvious that their position is against the church. But the proof is no. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because who is the they? I need to define that better. But I would say that to me, it's obvious that the ethos of the organization is espousing the culturally Marxist viewpoint, and one of the proofs that I see, and I'm sympathetic to. And I'm sympathetic to arguments for you. I'm not against you in 50% of this because they were the only ones that stuck by you, and I will reiterate that.
Yeah, no,
okay?
I know. I'm just.
But I will
see what
say,
you're saying.
When you're tearing open your diploma and saying, "Great, I got it today, so now I can make a podcast against the church," methinks that this content you made before was really just against the church too.
I get that, but that's his personal channel. I'm talking like this brand specifically, right?
Sure.
And even Lucas said he views Sebastian differently than the rest of the Black Menaces. That's a fine differentiation to make because he's saying this guy in general, I'm not a fan of this guy. I'm just saying if you're saying Rachel Weaver is a Marxist, I want to see evidence Rachel Weaver is a Marxist. If you're saying Nate Bird is a Marxist, I want to see evidence Nate Bird is a Marxist. If you're saying this guy left the church and is going to go anti, that's fair. But like to me, from my conversations with Rachel and her brother Ron, who I've known for years, they're Biden Democrats.
We don't. That's fair.
Nate is literally in a traditional marriage.
We don't.
You know what I mean?
We don't have any smoking guns of them selling nuclear secrets to the Rosenbergs.
With my conversations with Nate, he's like he wanted to start a group called Men About Change years ago, which was literally a 501c3 dedicated to getting black men to be really like active business owners and fathers, like so. When I'm thinking of the founder, he's kind of a nuclear family guy. So I'm trying to figure out where,
So let's read a couple of super chats, and I'm going to let Luke talk. Thank you very much for the super chat. Asher says the most obvious evidence of Marx/communist ideas in any of their videos is when they wear the clenched fist of communism on a shirt or other articles. Yes, that's true. They adopt the iconography of all of the proto-Marxist positions. I mean, they're adopting the iconography of the trans and the gay pride flag. They're adopting the iconography of the clenched fist of communism and so on and so forth.
I think that's a Black Panthers thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
That was
which were communists, but
they were totally based when it came to Second Amendment rights. And I'll tell you, the Pink Pistols and the Black Panthers are in my book going down as history as based.
Yeah,
because the Black Panthers, man, they straight gunned up. You want to stop white supremacist violence?
The Black Panthers though were extremely pro family unit and extremely pro
and lunch programs. So they burnt our lunch programs.
These aren't Russian communists. Yeah. Like it's a different. It was an We're looking at. They took an adaptation of an adaptation. This isn't the original red communism, So, I mean, they're not out here talking Gorbachev, right? So that's why I just like.
He continues. Another super chat says, "Look at their website to see the clenched fist of communism as a logo and posted throughout the site." Okay, so there, evidence again, iconography.
Yeah, but the iconography we just agreed was probably more of a reference to Black Panthers, which don't really fit the mold of cultural Marxism.
You say that we're
today.
Superimposing negative intent. Maybe you're superimposing positive intent.
Do you really think the Black Menaces took the clench from Russians and not Black Panthers? Maybe they did,
How do you know
but
the Black
probably
Panthers
not.
didn't take it from the Russians? Russian models are gorgeous.
No, I said
their fashion is.
I said they adopted it, but if you look at Black Panther political positions, some of those today would be considered more right-wing than the Biden Democrats.
Oh, yeah, dude,
right?
definitely.
So that's why I'm like,
definitely
pro-gun, pro-family unit, like they're extremely...
They wanted to open carry in Oakland. Like, there's pictures of the Black Panthers, like, straight
that's
up.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I think he's wrong. I think Asher here is wrong because I think it's a wink to something else. It's like, it's kind of like if someone posts a picture of a Hindutva guy and there's a swastika, they go, look, this guy's a Nazi. It's like, no, he posted an ancient Hindu symbol.
Okay.
It's like not, and I'm not defending Hindutva. I think they're weird and they beat women and they should stop eating cow dung. But the point, though, is, yeah, they eat cow dung. The Hindutva political party people, they advocate eating cow dung. It doesn't matter.
Whoa!
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. It does matter, actually. Don't eat cow dung. You'll die. But I want to make clear, though, I think it's a wink to something else. Anyway, I'm just saying, I know Rachel and Nate don't seem to be Marxists, so that's why Sebastian very well may be. Well may be. But it's like, if you're friends with Connor Boyack, right? If someone goes, Cardin Ellis is anti-Abraham Lincoln. No, your buddy Connor Boyack is. But you would not be caught dead walking around saying, I hate Lincoln. Because when you say you hate Lincoln, it kind of sounds like you like Jefferson Davis.
No.
And what was he known for?
In defense of my...
He would not be able to point out Beyonce. That's what I'll say. Jefferson Davis.
In defense of my boy Connor Boyack, he does not hate Abraham Lincoln. He's just a big-time liberty guy and an anti-tyranny guy, and he feels
the South was known for liberty.
Yeah, geez,
they were big on freedom.
No, look, he feels that maybe Abraham Lincoln might have legally overstepped his bounds in some of the decisions he made. Now, I think most people would smile upon Abraham Lincoln's presidency, especially seeing how he handled it after the Civil War was over and didn't try and just decimate the South and forgive them.
If you want every black person to distrust you, you need to say, I really like George Washington and really dislike Abraham Lincoln. Go. Huh. Oh no, it's not racist. It's not. I think it was wrong the way he freed all the slaves, and I think the slaveholder was. It's like.
And in all fairness to Jefferson Davis,
he always ironed his clothing before speeches, and he liked pineapple. I like pineapple on my pizza. Jefferson Davis did. It's not the Negro thing. I really.
Quaku, my stomach hurts, bro.
Look, I like as a barber. I liked Adolf because of his funny mustache. I promise.
Oh my gosh, dude, this is crazy, bro. There are times where I really love being your friend, and this moment is one of them. We've received the records of one Liv Maxfield. Liv, welcome to the Ward Radio Wigwam. Everybody that would like to welcome Liv Maxfield to the Ward Radio Warship, please put a W in the chat. And Pauline Nikes says, what is, quote, queer history? I want a definition. And I would say that's kind of one of the...
Probably the history of gays. I mean, not to sound so ineloquent about it, but like, you know, like...
Well, you just committed an atrocity because you didn't delineate between gay and queer, which are two different things and two different letters.
I think it depends on how much they like you.
LGBTQIAA.
I think it depends
Shame
how much...
on you!
It depends how much they like you. It's like you can say blacks if black people really like you. It's like you can get away with it. It also depends. It's like... Yeah, it's like I know a lot of blacks. It's like I know a lot of blacks. You're like, hey, how'd you say that? You emphasize the C and the B too much.
Luke, we are having way too much fun over here, bro. This is what's so cool about being members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and basking in the glory that is the church Joseph Smith established on the North American continent. Is you just people from all kinds of wild different backgrounds come together and they just love each other and they're able to look over.
Can I give you another example real quick?
Yes.
If you're in a party in San Francisco and someone's like,
what kind of party, bro?
Who's coming to the party? And you're like, the gays are coming. It's like, the party people. If you're in Hayden Lake, Idaho, and you look at your phone, you go, the gays are coming. It's, you know what I mean? How it's different. It's the same sentence, but it's different. One guy's excited for his buddies from downtown. The other guy is about to go burn the library. It's different.
Oh, dog, that's funny, dude. You're funny. So would you say it's fair to do this? We got to wrap it up here. We only got 3 minutes left. If you guys have any, we're going to go eat. We're starving Marvin. Luke, again, you made the wrong choice hanging out on the East Coast, bro. I hope these conservative think tank people are whining and dining you because we'd take you out to go get Indian food right after this because we're going to go get some chicken tikka masala.
And Luke, I also want to apologize to you. I want to apologize to Luke Hansen here. Not because I called you Lucas like Cardin called you for the first year, but mostly because I now understand your pro-Israel position, and considering that you've just been kidnapped by Hamas, based on the lighting in the car you're in.
Yeah, I do actually have to go film another hostage video. They make us do a lot of these, so I do have to dip out.
I can tell.
But thanks for noticing. Thanks for feeling my pain.
Yes,
dude, you're awesome, bro. So anyway, basically, would you say it's fair right now? I'm sympathetic to both sides of the argument, and I'm not doing this to be both sidesism, but there's half of me that really believes some of this internet crap doesn't matter, and a lot of it is just show. But when the crap hits the fan and the crap gets real, you know who shows up for you on your behalf when the zombie apocalypse happened. And when the zombie apocalypse happened for my boy Kwaku L, you know, the people that showed up to defend him are a lot of the people that are staffing the Black Menaces now. So I give them a lot of grace. Because they defended my boy Kwaku L from, frankly, the unimaginable. And shame on the people that put my boy Kwaku L through that. And God bless the people that defended him. I feel a love for these people in the Black Menaces, right? At the same time, I think cultural Marxism is cruel. It's the font of cancel culture, which is the biggest blight of the 21st century on a lot of these kids. And they've, as Luke has pointed out, ruined the lives of some of these students by, in my opinion, unnecessarily dragging innocent people through some of these exposés for what, internet clout or whatever. And to me, that's at best a faux pas, at worst, sacrificing one of your fellow children of God at the altar of internet clout, which I just think is plain old cruel. And so I see it both ways. I think you're right that we may not have a smoking gun to say like these are card carrying communists that need to be looked after if, you know, Red Dawn actually happens. Okay. But I can't say that they're just innocent, and that the iconography that they've chosen to adopt, the sound bites and the hashtags that they've chosen to represent, you know, are just some kind of innocent mistake. So with all of that said, we invite you to come on the show. Every last one of the Menaces. All right. They're like every last one. Are we comfortable saying that one, Kwaku? There's not like,
I think it's like 6 or 7 total,
okay,
but also
cool.
they have chapters now around the country. So it's kind of like a
well, the BYU ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And the OGs, because we also want to make sure that the original ethos of the organization is represented. Right. So anyway, you guys are invited to come on. We'll have a convo. We got plenty of microphones in the studio here. It'll be fun. Luke, any last words before we go, as a brother who's covered this for a while?
Yeah, I think that just when we're talking about it, I want to be clear that I'm not trying to say that they're bad people, like they've never done anything good, or even that all of them are the things that I said about Sebastian. I think that's more exclusively to him.
Okay.
And I don't know if Kwaku backs this up, but it seems like he's kind of, I might even use the word hijacked, like he's kind of taken over for his own purposes. And Nate and Rachel are a lot more out of the picture. They might be focused on
when
more
I see
of the
Black
chapter
Menaces
thing.
the past like 6-7 months, I really just see Sebastian.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't, you know, maybe
most
that's
of my gripes are with him, and then most of my gripes are like with certain things that the other people are doing. But I'm not like all of them are terrible, horrible people.
So
that are
we
gonna
need to
leave the
organize a
church and have
debate
no redeeming
between you and Sebastian
qualities.
on the show, is what you're saying, Luke. Because it sounds like most
I
of your
wouldn't
gripes
want
are
to
about
embarrass
Sebastian's
him
tactics
that much.
and like moral compass. And would you do a debate like you on Ward Radio versus Sebastian?
On his own moral compass?
Honestly, no. Most like, would you do a debate on race related subjects?
On his ideas.
Yeah, like his political philosophy. Would you debate him on this show about his political philosophy?
I would. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can.
I know
organize
Cardin
it.
hates the formal debate format, but
I
prefer that one.
Well, I just want to be able to, you know, understand what half the terminologies that Jacob Hansen uses when he's talking about his debates are. So I'm down to try. I'm down to dip my toes in the water of debating. So I'm just kidding. So anyway,
chat too, I'd be fine with.
You know, I usually don't read the chats of non-members because I'm biased like that, and I think our members are awesome, Kwaku. But here is a funny one from all those opposed. She says, "I used to not be." Where is this? I've never liked mustaches, but Kwaku has changed that for me. Kissy face, smiley. You're a missionary of the stash, the Lando Calrissian stash, that you know, really needs to be more robustly supported.
You guys know how awesome my Halloween costume is going to be?
You're going to be
next
Lando
year?
Calrissian?
No, I'm going to get a chubby suit and shave my head and be Steve Harvey.
Oh, whoa.
Isn't that funny?
That's funny, dude. But
or we'll get
a chubby
like
suit? He's not chubby, is he? I wouldn't call him chubby.
No, he's not. He's more like
he's just
like
a
Alex
giant.
Jones. How Alex Jones is like a mixture of little chub and muscle, just kind of like this mass. He's just mass.
To me, he's just a really big guy. I don't know if I'd call him chubby. Steve Harvey.
Well, he only wears suits, which is like boomer code to hide the
Oh. So since he's not wearing skinny jeans, you kind of question.
Oh no, skinny jeans are chuggy. Those are done.
Oh, those are chuggy. Those are done. Okay. Cool.
Actually, no. He probably is in shape. He just is always wearing the.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so anyway, guys, this has been totally awesome. It's been super cool. Luke, hang out on the Zoom on the other side of our exit or outro. We'll talk. We'd invite you to go get some Indian food if you were here in Los Angeles with us. But either way, it's been real and it's been fun. And it's been real fun, as always, for this and more. Please make sure you guys check us out at wardradio.com.
I built a rocket in my basement. I'm gonna fly it to the moon. This supersonic is amazing. You're gonna feel my sonic boom. I'm flying higher and I'm never coming down. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me. We brought the funk into this function. Yeah. We show up dressing to the nines. Okay. Never need an introduction. No matter what, we're feeling fine. I'm flying high and I'm never coming down. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. I can't stop. I'm never giving up because I'm way too hot to not be at the top. I can't stop. I'm never giving up because I'm way too hot to not be at the top. I'm flying high and I'm never coming down. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me. Ladies, leave your man at home if he don't treat you like a queen.